Who's Number 1 went down last week and had some incredible matches. Dorian Oliveira continues his dominance with heavy wrestling and a fantastic display of outside passing into tight passing. Nick Mataya had a crazy last minute comeback against ADCC Trials champion Jacob Bornemann. And we even had dangerous teenagers breaking each other's legs without remorse. I've extensively analysed each match and even spoken to Dorian to gain insight into how he passes so effectively. In this video, I'm going to display what I've learned from this event with the hopes that my findings may help some of you. Before we get into the analysis, my name is Rob and I'm a massive Jiu-Jitsu nerd who's passionate about competing, coaching and skill development. This channel is a space where I share my Jiu-Jitsu journey with you. That currently is displaying my findings from high-level matches and instructionals, but in the future I'd like to delve into other topics such as my own experience with coaching and competing, discussing how to optimize skill development, or even speaking on topics or events that are currently popular within the sport. I hope that in sharing these experience or findings that some of you may resonate or learn something that will help with your own grappling. Now let's get into what I've learned from Who's Number 1. The person everyone is speaking about after this event is Dorian Oliveira. At just 20 years old, he's used his wrestling and outside passing to beat some of the very best in the sport. He often gets pinned as being heavily reliant on his athleticism and cardio, which is true to an extent. It is a big part of his game, but his technical prowess should not be understated. His first match with Julian Espinosa was interesting, as not too long ago Dorian beat him comfortably at trials. And it seemed to me that Julian was looking to make connection from standing, so when he pulled into a guard, he could slow Dorian down. But why couldn't he attain this? Well, what Nicky Rod said in a previous match I felt summed up Dorian's strategy pretty nicely. Dorian stayed at a further distance and feinted high and low. With these feints, he created a nice interplay between the snap down and the blast double. For the snap down, we ultimately need their legs far back and their head low. As Jiu-Jitsu athletes often maintain a high posture, getting this positioning is tricky, which is why you'll see Dorian consistently faking low to snatch a single. As he does this, Julian often reacts to the feint by bringing his leg backwards to deny the potential single leg. However, when this happened, Julian puts himself in the perfect posture for Dorian to complete a snap down, which he executed here. This early sequence planted the threat into Julian's mind. Now the snapdown and attacks up high must be respected. Therefore, when Dorian feints for a collar tie to execute a snapdown, Julian anticipates the threat by raising his posture and hands to intercept it. As he defends high, however, there's now a clear avenue for Dorian to shoot for this head inside blast double. Even with Julian's lead hand as a down block, there's nothing he can do. The act of down blocking involves meeting shoulder to shoulder, so with only the hand defending, the down block is effectively useless. This is a relatively simple idea to get behind, right? Yet Dorian is so effective with it. So how would we go about defending these snapdowns? Early on in this match between Nick Mataya and Jacob Bornemann, Jacob was finding some success with snapdowns. As we spoke about, we need this head low legs back posture to be effective with a snapdown. But it's also important to pay attention to the state of your opponent's arm. For their snapdown to be effective, they need to go from a flexed, bent elbow state into an extended one, which will allow the maximum amount of force to be generated to hit this technique. Therefore, a great strategy to deal with snapdowns is to take an elbow tie like Nick Mataya does here. This reinforces their elbow into this flex state, which makes snapdowns unbelievably tricky. But also, it places our hand in the perfect position to perform counter offense. From a standing position, we can use this to perform an elbow pass, which allows us to get outside the elbow and work takedowns such as single legs. If our elbow tie happened to be ineffective though, and they were able to jump into a front headlock, maintaining this elbow tie control provides us an immediate handle to enter a sucker drag. By pushing the elbow, we can begin passing our head across their center line, which can allow us to escape the position, or reach through for an arm drag grip and counter. The use of this elbow tie will probably be tricky against Dorian due to his heavy feints and pace, but let's be real, this guy's probably been wrestling in the womb and no one has found an answer to his game yet, so I certainly won't be able to. Anyways, let's look at his passing. He does this at an incredibly high pace, however the strategy he uses is something you'll be able to employ into your game right away. I made a video on Dorian's passing system a while back. If you'd like to see it, I'll link it at the end of this video. And if I miss anything here, I'll most likely have it mentioned in there. What Dorian has mastered is mixing his outside passing into tight passing. But first, why is his outside passing so effective? What separates athletes like Dorian and Joseph's outside passing is their understanding of when and how to gain head control. As he begins passing towards the hip line, his first goal is to prevent the high pummel or the low leg. Dorian will often prevent the high pummel by connecting his ear to his shoulder, keeping his head low, and flaring his elbow. The low leg he'll manage by taking a grip on the knee and maintaining a perpendicular angle. Against 95% of people, this alone will be enough for you to pass their guard. But against strong guard players, they'll still be able to high pummel. Why? Because they can freely move their head. If the head can extend back and away, flexible people will still be able to create space and angle to bring their top leg back in place. It's the same from north-south. If the head can freely move out to a perpendicular angle, they'll have a greater chance of pummeling to retain. Therefore, to prevent this, Dorian will connect with a straight collar tie if he wants to pass into side control, or he'll take a reverse collar tie if he wants to work to the shoulder line and pass north-south. This head control is crucial. You'll see Joseph also do the same. However, Joseph will implement a knee drop to make sure the low leg doesn't come in as he transfers his hand from the knee to the head. To prevent all these angle changes then, during outside passing sequences, his opponents will often connect to reverse de la Riva to trap his leg and prevent him gaining a superior angle and moving side to side. Dorian has a sneaky strategy for this though. He'll often begin his pass by forcing his opponent's hip to the mat with his forearm, then look to flank to the other side. The guard player will always choose to square up to prevent their guard from being passed or back taken. When this happens, Dorian will maintain this inside elbow position ready to attack the J point, and if they entangle him into reverse de la Riva, it then becomes very easy for him to chase the far hip with his inside leg and get chest to chest to work a knee cut. This outside passing to tight passing is incredibly difficult to stop and is one of the main passing sequences Danaher teaches to all of his students. A very common pathway from chest to chest half guard is going to side control. However, passing to mount is much more fruitful. There are stronger submission threats, and in point-based rule sets, you'd score more. However, as you start working towards mount from this knee cut, you'll get stuck in this quarter guard position. From here, it can be quite tricky to stop the person on bottom performing a knee elbow escape. To do this, they'll look to reverse shrimp underneath, which will allow them to square their hips back up and retain their guard. So, is there a way that we can prevent this reverse shrimping motion? Notice how Dorian transitions to a leg ride. He'll make sure his hips are directly over both knees. And this next part is key. He'll place his foot by DeAndre's calf and push to extend the leg fully. Now the leg is reinforced in this fully extended position, DeAndre can no longer generate force with said leg to begin reverse shrimping to retain, giving Dorian ample time to work into mount. This leg riding strategy was first shown to me by my coach Fred Greenall, and it's a great way we can look to maintain and pass from this quarter guard position. If you'd like more insights into Dorian's wrestling and passing, I've made some longer analysis videos on my Patreon, where I delve into some of the extra strategies that he uses. It was only 3 years ago since Dorian won his first trials at 17 years of age, and at this Who's Number 1 event we had 4 16-year-olds compete for the youth belt. These teenagers are all effectively black belt level who could give many high level adults problems and even get wins over some. In this tournament, the match that stood out to me was JP Tran versus James Ortiz. Honestly, I've never heard of Ortiz before this match and expected JP to win due to his great performances in IBJJF competitions and being AOJ's up and coming prodigy. But I was very wrong. During the match, Ortiz attacked a Woj lock and seemingly broke Tran's foot pretty bad. Now I haven't heard if this break was severe or if he'll be out for very long, but this definitely isn't how a foot should move. I'm sure being under the tutelage of Guy Mendez and Tynan, that JP will rehab properly, stay safe, etc, etc. But it raised a thought in my head, and probably yours just now, on when we should be tapping. I'm currently 3 months into rehabbing an ACL reconstruction, and have stupidly in the past not tapped submissions. So I understand the mentality of some of these guys. Obviously, there's a difference between me and this AOJ prodigy. He's a multiple-time world champion, competing on the biggest stages with high stakes, whereas I'm not tapping for the sake of a 50p medal. But at such a young age, I just hate to see these incredible prospects risking their health for the sake of one match. The level is getting drastically higher and at a younger age each year. However, there's still years before these athletes and JP hit their prime and compete at trials or adult black belt comps. I know on my own body the toll these injuries can incur, and I hope that JP comes back okay, but in general for anyone watching this video, just understand when you beat and tap, you'll be in the sport for longer, have more mat time, and if winning is crucial to you, as it is to me, you win by getting good and improving every day. And you can't do those two things if you're stuck in bed with injuries. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. This is what I learned from Who's Number 1, and I hope that this was helpful and that you enjoyed it. I gathered all the clips for this video via the Outlier database, and I have more analysis, and you can even work with me on your own game via my Patreon. If you'd like a discount on high quality fresh training gear, I have a discount code to Scramble Brand in the description. Links for all of these are in the description below, including my Discord where you can speak with other passionate, like-minded jiu-jitsu people. Finally, if you'd like to learn more on Dorian's passing, this video I did on his system may help you.